Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sisters. Welcome to our episode. And our topic today is what is unschooling? A lot of people think of unschooling as totally unstructured homeschooling lifestyle. However, Sister Azra and I have been unschooling for many years, Sister Azra even more than I have. And we would like to share our day to day and how we have been unschooling our children and how it has benefited. But we're also going to say a few things that we have altered while we have been unschooling and things that have been working with for us. So, very quickly, my name is Saniha. I am a parenting coach. You can reach me on Facebook and Instagram. I also I'm an admin in a group where there are 30,000 women, and Azra and I go live there weekly. So please don't hesitate to reach out so I can actually send you a link to join our group, inshallah. Sister Azra, mashallah tabarakallah, she is a homeschooling coach, but not just that, she also has a school online for those parents who are interested in outsourcing and they just sometimes parents are not good at every single topic. So parents like to outsource. And Sister Azra, mashallah, she's been helping parents who want to outsource for quite some time. So, Sister Azra, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm glad to be here. Jazakallah khair for the introduction. And I'm very excited about our today's topic, unschooling. I think it's lots of misconceptions there. So I'm glad that we're going to talk about that.
Definitely. I think it's a topic that actually in the group I like to test that group to see what topics the sisters have, and this is one of the topics they've asked us to talk about. Sister Azra, obviously to start talking about unschooling, we first have to define the what is it. Can you tell us more about um, what unschooling is in your eyes?
Definitely. So the first one who used that word was a John Holt. He was author, he was a teacher. And what he did is he noticed in his classrooms that the way how we teach is not really working well. So he was experimenting a lot, and then he found out that the good way of teaching would be that adults kind of remove themselves from that process of teaching and let children kind of follow their own interests. So when he was talking about following their own interests and removing ourselves from this teaching, he meant more on the traditional way of teachers standing in front of the students, and teachers are the source of information. So he was thinking about that type of relationship. It's kind of a little bit kind of like an obstacle for students to learn. So he was trying to change this school system. He was trying to, make some changes and so on, but he was not able to do it. So what he did, he turned to homeschooling community, and he was one of the first, who was in this community contributing, and he was trying to help parents when they start homeschooling to not to do the same mistake and replicate school system at home, because the word homeschooling, for people who are new to homeschooling, sounds like you want to do school at home, but that's not the idea of the homeschooling. So sometimes people talking about unschooling, deschooling, that you have to unschool yourself before you start homeschooling. And it's more meaning like you have to forget about this system, the way of teaching that is done at schools. So don't be anymore like a teacher, a lecturer. Be more like a coach, like a facilitator of this learning process, support. your child, create a good environment, a learning environment. So I would say that little bit of misconception there is that sometimes parents think, oh, kids will just do whatever they want to do, right? There is no structure and they can do whatever they like, and there is no any type of structured learning. But actually, unschooling involves a little bit of structured learning, and inshallah, we're going to talk about that more. So we can share what did we do during our journeys.
Yeah, definitely. I came across John Hall actually after my journey to unschooling, and I was like, oh, okay, so there is something like it, and people are doing it. I just was not very aware. But my reason for starting to unschool was simply when I decided to homeschool my children. They were very young, super young. So I had from 5 until to 1 year old, so 4 children. And I remember back in the days, I had a curriculum and I would follow this curriculum to the T. And then my daughter sometimes would excel really fast. And I'm like, no, 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 we have to stick to the curriculum. And she was very bored. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. I thought this is supposed to work. This is what schools do. They follow a curriculum and this should guide the child to the next step. But my daughter was not liking the curriculum at all. And me not knowing any other options at that time, I just followed the curriculum and I made her miserable because I didn't have any other knowledge. But subhanAllah, there was a time shortly after when I decided, I sat down with her and I told her, hey, we're done. We're done with this curriculum, this schedule. It doesn't work. I get it. And we totally switched to unschooling. And ever since, subhanAllah, she has flourished academically, and so have my other children. So it's been a really nice journey. But again, uh, unschooling, a lot of people see unschooling as like a very unstructured type of setting, but it's not like that. In fact, you can have structure and still unschool, which means it's totally interest based, but you have to always check in with children, and we'll go on to that in details really soon. But I really would like whoever is listening to this to hear me out. When you think of education, what does that mean to you? Nowadays, what education means, especially for young children, is you have 30 students sitting at the desk, following the rules of the teacher and doing everything the teacher assigns them. Sometimes they are not able to ask questions outside the topic because the teacher has a curriculum she has to follow, and she has 30 students. So that's the school system nowadays. It's just a bunch of information shoved onto a child's mind on daily basis and repeating that over and over and over, daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis. So have you ever seen like children when they're kindergarten? And I know you have, when they're kindergarteners and you're like, what do you want to be? I want to be a doctor. I want to be an astronaut, or you know, um, I would like to be a vet. They have all these passions, mashallah. But sadly, the studies show that by the time they're in high school, they're just done. They're drained. Their brains are just fried. And this is the difference between, taking your child to school, getting their brains fried versus mothers who are really concerned and they don't want that. They want to actually bring the child up spiritually, emotionally, educationally, in all aspects of life. So they are actually ready for the dunya and they are ready to find their purpose. So, as a mom, everyone who's probably joining, most of you who's joining this podcast, and you wanted to know more about unschooling, you're probably one of those very aware parents who want to stop doing the conventional type of education and offer your children something better. So, inshallah, we'll cover some topics. This is very short podcast. We can't go in depth, but Sister Azra, how have you? Your boys are mashallah, barakallah. One is a teenager, one is already in his 20s in college. But take us a bit to your household and how you unschooled your two boys.
So yes, you're right when you said like we heard about John Holt and we read many books, but that happened after we already started to homeschool. Uh, so I started 16 years ago, yes, and I didn't know much about homeschooling, and I started the same way. I bought a curriculum, and then have a setup like a board on the wall and the tables and everything. And it worked a little bit, but the first problem we experienced was when my boys actually hit like when they were 12 years old, 13 years old, um, when they were in their teenage years. And there was a really a true problem. So they were not motivated. They were trying, to resist. They didn't want to learn. They didn't want to do, their worksheets, all those things that we learn kind of that we should do, right, with the curriculum and everything. So it was bad. It was bad. I was very frustrated, and I was very worried. Like, what's gonna happen? That doesn't go this way. They're not learning. So I would say, like, I just out of the frustration, I said, "That's it. We're gonna throw out everything, the tables and the board and everything, and we're just gonna make a timeout. We're gonna sit around the kitchen table and then ask them, like, okay, guys, what do you want?" Right. I believe that homeschooling is the right thing to do. And I don't want you to go to public school or private school. I don't believe that's a good way to, learn and grow. And then they start, actually participating and like, I would like to do this and I would like to, do maybe something specific, math in the morning, and I want to do this in evening. I don't like when we do math after lunch or something like that. And then I noticed they are getting more interested. So then I realized actually that I was maybe a little bit more, controlling, and basically I realized I was actually standing in front of them, being an obstacle for them, kind of limiting them to my limits where I stand with subjects like physics or math or whatever. And then I said, okay, let's explore other things. We found some nice, very nice websites, very beautiful courses and stuff. That's when they got really interested. So one was, interested in astronomy, the other one in some health, nutrition. And I was very surprised. So basically, I kind of discovered this out of my frustration and my problem, but alhamdulillah, it worked well. So specifically for teenagers, we should involve them into this homeschooling journey, let them own that homeschooling journey. So it's not our journey. It's not, my thing. So I, completely make a schedule, everything for them, and they don't have any input there. So I let them actually take responsibility for their studying, create a schedule for themselves. That's when they start being interested, and that's when they start actually learning. And it was incredible. It was beautiful to see actually how their interests developed. So I would say that's how I kind of discovered that. So uh, and I realized that in that process, I am someone like a coach, So if you're thinking of yourself as a homeschooler that you have to do everything for your kids, no, you are there to facilitate. You are there to coach them, actually to support them, to understand them, and to help them. to go through the process of learning. So when that happened, everything changed for us, and it was a nice I would say nice surprise. So I would advise anybody with teenagers, don't try to control them. Present yourself as someone who is a supporter, someone who wants to be with them. They can rely on you, they can trust you, and you will be there to support them, and they can explore their own interests, and you know des- design their own goals and their dreams, inshallah. So Saniha, that would be like how I discovered unschooling and what we did.
Yeah, mashallah, that's that's very insightful. I mean, many sisters, it takes them a really long time to find what works best for them. But what Azra and I, throughout the years, we found out that actually feeding the children the information they want, they seek, has been much more beneficial than shoving the curriculum on their throats. And again, if you're a mom that wants to do this, um, by no means you're free to do it, but there's a better way. There's always a better way. And we have found out that unschooling is beneficial because these children, when they learn something, a topic, they tend to store it in their brain because they were so interested in it. Um, Yesterday we went live, Azra and I, and we talked about the same topic, but in a much longer time frame. And I shared with the sister that one of my children, are so interested in herbalism, and they know so much about herbs and the benefits of the herbs. Mashallah, tabarakallah. Like if I'm looking for a certain illness, I will just go and ask them because they have learned so much about herbs and the benefits and which ones are actually not good when you mix them, and so on and so forth. And also another child has learned so much about cats and different breeds and what they eat and where you can find them. And it's like this is what we want. We want the children to really dwell into the information, and when they learn it, at least they get to keep that information in their brain. Is supposed to. When you do a curriculum, sadly, less than 5% will be retained. And this is not from me. You can test this. Try to teach your child even a science course for a year, and then take a break for 2, 3 months and ask them about that course. If they were not interested, the chances of this child remembering are really low. And I think many of you can relate to this, especially some of you who have sent children to school. Children learn so much, and then during the summer break, the teachers complain the children forget so much of it. So the teacher has to go all over the information for the next 3 months. So this is what's happening. And it's like, do we want to repeat the same mistake over and over? For sure, I made my choice when my child was around 5 or 6, not to do this because it didn't work for us. Actually, around 6, 6.5. My journey is we decided to unschool completely. So what I did is I just backed off from any type of education whatsoever. I wanted to, at that time, I said, no more schooling whatsoever. I just want to show love, compassion, and model because they were so young. I didn't want to do any schooling. So I went from doing curriculum to absolutely nothing. Nothing, no formal education at all. And this worked in my favor because I think if I didn't do this, my daughter, who was doing curriculum, would be unmotivated by now. But Alhamdulillah, with Allah's mercy, I decided to back off and I just wanted to emotionally connect with my children. And this helped my daughter, and it sparked so many curiosities that now she's so interested in learning. But I think if I didn't have that time to emotionally connect with her, she would develop resentment towards just sitting down and learning and that passion for learning. So after that, we just unschooled. Even now, my children are 13, 11, 7, and 8. So the 13 and 11, they do, my 13-year-old does upper level courses, and it's interest based, whatever she wants, except English and math. This one, I don't give a lot of lenience because in colleges you have to be good in these two subjects. Everything else is their choice. Now, do I know how to teach all these subjects? Absolutely not. I love outsourcing and I am a fan of outsourcing. I encourage moms who are able to outsource. Don't, it's not worth trying to teach a subject that you're not good at it because your child will not learn. They want that compassion. They want to feel that spark. So if you're able to outsource, I would highly, highly recommend that. And it's been a great help in our family. So my 10-year-old, he does the regular stuff that a 10-year-old does. And then the 7 and 8-year-old, they do very minimum schooling. I want them to enjoy life. Because you know what? School is there, they're gonna be learning, and I want as much as possible. So they do maximum, I think 1 hour, 1.5 of schooling, but not more than that. Um, our day normally starts with after their breakfast and their, brushing teeth and those simple chores, they have to read Quran. And this is one habit that I hope everybody does this in their house when the children are very young, is teach them to first thing have that Quran in their hand, recite Quran, do the morning adhkar, evening adhkar, those things to be embedded in them. So inshallah they can pass it to their children and so on and so forth. But Quran is number one subject they do in the morning, and then they do English and mathematics. Um, and we've been on vacation for some time, so they haven't been doing it a lot. But and after that, it's their choice. So that's I kind of took you in our unschooling day to day, and there's absolutely no pressure. If my children do not feel like it on the day to do any schoolwork, guess what? There is no pressure. Um, so just take it very easy. That's what unschooling is. And here's the thing. A lot of sisters are like, okay, well, this is not a lot of structure, and I agree with you, but can your child go to college early? And sisters, I can testify that I have seen with my own eyes and met people who have children from age 10 to age 14 who joined in college. So, if your child is interested in going to college by the age 12, and you tell them, hey, work hard and you'll get there, by no means they will get there if they work really hard. So don't make your goal for them to flourish only academically. This is very important. My reason for unschooling is not for them to just flourish academically. I want them to flourish spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and academically. All of these components in one, so they can actually find their purpose one day. Um, what do you think, Azra?
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I missed to say that. Why did we, choose this unschooling, well, actually homeschooling at all, right? Because we want our children, first of all, to be good Muslims, right? So, we are trying to find the ways how we can, help them to, first of all, become a good Muslims and then become successful in their lives, whatever that success is for them. So we help them so they reach their goals. So yeah, it takes some time until that everything that together is this schooling. changing your mindset when you're thinking about education, not only about schooling, but you're thinking about their life, their character, like how they will develop spiritually, um, um, in every aspect, right? So not only that they will get the degree, like the end goal is not they get into the college, that's it. No, end goal is that they are successful or happy people who are, obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because sometimes we put too much pressure on like what we're going to teach them on the curriculum and stuff. But I think this is like greater than the curriculum and stuff. So as you said, you start your day with the Quran. Yes, we start our day with the Quran, telling our children this is the most important thing, right? To pray on
Mm-hmm.
time, to read the Quran, to learn about Islam, and put Islam in every subject. Whatever you're talking about, a science, a reading, a math, you put inside you discuss also that from Islamic perspective. So they see that Islam is a part of our life and outside life. It's not a separate subject, Islamic studies. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, that's how we should have kind of bigger picture here. Um,
Yeah.
Not only just what you do for the curriculum. As you said, I never spend more than like 2 hours working with kids, and as you said, giving them foundation. I want them to know how to read, how to write, how to communicate. Put some emphasis on critical thinkers. I want them to make good decisions in their life. I know I said, many things in my life are the result of me not making a good decision. Now, what I want for you guys is that you learn how to make good decisions in your life. That's more important than if you're going to become a doctor or you're going to become engineer, whatever. You will become what you
Mm-hmm.
want to become, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I
And
was, yeah, go ahead.
no, 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 please finish.
Yeah, so I would, besides like throwing out the tables and everything, I also threw out the curriculums, and I started from like, what do I want them to learn from like an end goal? I want them to understand. I want them to, write well. I want them to do good maths or something. So I would design the end goal and then uh, backward engineering, create some lessons for them, or direct them where they're going to find the resources for that. So to give them a good foundation, that's most important. And as you said, everything else is optional. Are they want to explore, as you said, herbs, or black holes and astronomy, or sports?
Mm-hmm.
That's additional. But
Mm-hmm.
it's that structure should exist somewhere when you're building this foundation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very well said. It's crucial because I just I don't know if you would agree with me, but it's not hard to have your child to just learn a bunch of information and memorize it in the next 5 years. That's very easy. As homeschooling, we can have the children. I mean, so many homeschoolers, their children go to college at age 12 and 14. But sadly, when they reach 20, it's like they don't even know their purpose. They're lost. Spiritually, they're completely
Yeah.
lost. Academically, mashallah, tabarakallah, they are very successful. But spiritually, they are lost. And for me, like when I decided to homeschool, I wanted to align both of those, but even more, I wanted them to be spiritually, emotionally, mentally more prepared for the dunya than academically. But subhanallah, once you teach your child to be grounded spiritually, emotionally, mentally, for some reason, academically, they just tend to flourish in that sense. But it doesn't work the other way around. If you teach your child to just flourish academically and not spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, then only then they will be confused. This is something that I've noticed from interviewing parents who have much older children who have been homeschooling. The children are very smart, very accomplished, but they're lost spiritually, and they may not make decisions that if they were brought up to be connected spiritually, emotionally, mentally, their decisions would be very different, in life. So, again, ask yourself, why do I want to unschool? What is my reason? And then work around it. One thing that you can do, and Nazar, please add to it, spark a curiosity in your child's mind. Our children, they need guidance. So let's say your child is not even interested in a topic, and you're like, I can see them love this topic, but they don't know anything about it. So how do you spark that curiosity? One of the ways is just introduce the topic over and over again till like that aha moment happens, so they can actually go deeper in the topic and study it. Um, is that something you would recommend, Azra?
Yes, definitely. And I can tell you, I work with high school students, and it's very sad sometimes when you see those teenagers so unmotivated, uninterested, you know. So the things that you can do is, of course, all the kids want to know why. Even when they're little, they're always asking, why do I have to brush my teeth? Why do I have to do this? So the teenagers are the same. You have to tell them why. They need to know why they need to, learn. Especially today when they see social media, YouTube channels, and everything. Nobody's talking about deeper, things.
Mm.
Nobody's talking about being inspired to be a doctor or this and that. It's always something like, celebrities and influencers and so on. So they need to know why they should invest their time in studying.
Mm.
Also, as I said already, uh, involve them into this process, see them as someone who can do it, believe in them. They will feel it if you believe they can succeed or not. So you have to show them that you believe in them. Even when my teenagers were like not motivated or stuff and they're not doing well, I would say, I still believe in you. I know you're going to, succeed. But you just have to find what you're interested in, then you're going to flourish, inshallah. And
Yes.
yes, tell them why, try to inspire them with this why. Don't try to control them. Try to be their friend, supporter, someone who understands them. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would add to it as well. Sometimes because we like to observe our children as they grow, um, and we could actually sometimes see their future. Like for example, yeah, if you homeschool your child from the beginning, you could see some traits. For example, one of my children, she loves to help people. She loves animals. She loves caring. And I told her not too long ago, I said, you should really think about choosing a career where you care for an animal, care for like a like for a human being, because you tend to go towards caring for something. And I told her some options that she could take, maybe a dental clinic, maybe OBGYN, a nurse. I gave her some option, a vet. And I told her just look into it and see if this is something that you would be interested in, so you can pursue from a young age. And if you see that on your child, by no means feed to it, because you can help them find their purpose much faster than other children. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. If you want them to be motivated, they have to be interested,
Mm.
So sometimes we think about motivation that we have to be motivated to start doing something, but actually we should start doing something and then motivation will come. Sometimes kids think about themselves as they can't do it. That might be the reason also why they are not interested. This is just like how they're showing that they are don't have that much self confidence. They will say like I'm not interested, but actually they are afraid to make a step, or and then think about yourself. Are you, the way how you're correcting them, are you criticizing them a lot? That's also the reason why kids refuse to do something, or they seem like they are not interested.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so lots
that's
of self-reflection here in, in
yes,
in
definitely,
homeschooling and parenting. And everything starts from parenting, and then goes to education. So
definitely. I would have to agree that any mom who listens to this and she wants to start homeschooling, I would say first, be happy the way you parent. And, if you're happy the way you parent and you're willing to change things that are not working, please work on yourself first because homeschooling does require some structure and sometimes things do go haywire. And how will you take that, you know, and how will you resolve that? And losing your cool is not the way to go because your children are always with you, and seeing the mommy losing the cool a lot of the times is not going to help them with their growth. So definitely check on your parenting ways and acknowledge some things that you're doing that are not right and change them and tweak them and whatever you need to do before you start schooling in general, because we want to be that source of, you know, comfort for them instead of like, oh, I'm scared of mommy. If I tell her I didn't do my homework, if I tell her I failed the exam with another teacher, she's gonna flip. So just establish that relationship from the beginning and work towards it, inshallah. Uh, I think this went beyond what we wanted at the time frame. So let's just tackle two questions that sisters asked and they wanted us to cover. And I thought out of all the questions, these two may be very beneficial. Number one, Sister Azra, this is for you since you do have a teenagers you had. How do you keep your teen interested in engaging while unschooling?
So we kind of a little bit cover already that, but first of all, as you said, you have to build relationship with your teenager. Your teenager really needs to see you as a friend, a supporter. So you have to build that trust. So whatever is going on, they trust you and they feel safe and secure with you to share that with you, and then help them. This is the time when they are actually searching for their identity. Any question you ask them, they're going to say, I don't know, I don't know. So basically, we have to help them to, find themselves. Where is their place in this world and how to explain things around them. So basically, lots of work with them on their personalities and character and so on, and to help them to find what they're interested in. Whatever they say at first, they're interested, let them, go ahead and explore that little bit. But don't say, like, oh, don't choose. Sometimes parents, they're crossing a line and then they are, whatever the teenagers say, they will say, like, oh, don't pick that. This is not good career. This is not good. They don't pay well and stuff. So I see many students like choosing careers, and I'm asking them, like, is this really what you want? Or they say, like, I don't know, my parents expecting me to become a doctor or expecting me to do this and that. So as a parents, we should not cross the line. This is their life. We have to help them to find themselves, to find their strengths and their talents and develop that. When they see that you will support them, they will then become motivated and interested. At first, if they say, I don't know, I want to be a YouTuber, don't freak out immediately and say, okay, that's interesting. You can explore that a little bit and see what's gonna happen, right? Maybe they're gonna be YouTuber for 2 days and then they're gonna say, "Oh, I don't like this. I want to be a doctor." So don't freak out. They're gonna change a lot of things, but they have to see you as someone who is going to support. them. So then they will become more like motivated to share with you and more motivated to actually explore their interests. Inshallah.
Yeah, that's a very well said, and you covered it overall. Um,
Yes.
Next one is, how long would you think is good enough time to discover a subject they are interested in and encourage for completing, I guess, per their age? I would say, if a child is interested in a subject, depending on their age, because the younger they are, they can be interested in a subject for 2 minutes, then they move on to the next, just depending on their age. But let's say 10 and above, if they're really interested in the subject and you offer them the resources, and you also, it's not only offer them worksheets and books and just put it on the table. That's not the way to unschool. Unschool is like the whole holistic experience of learning about the subject. So let's say your child is interested in herbalism, and they want to learn about herbs. Well, to spark that curiosity for them to want to learn more, to feed them more of that information, is, you know what? Feel free to buy herbs and put it on the table. Let them feel it, let them smell it, let them taste it, right? Or take them to the farm, let them pick those herbs with their own hands. You know, do whatever you need to do to spark that hunger for knowledge. So, depending on your child's age, that's how you do it. If your child is interested in animals, take them somewhere so they can feel it, they can smell it, they can have the full experience of it. That's just what I would do.
I would just quickly add that sometimes what part of unschooling or deschooling of parents' mindset is that we understand that subjects are not like you know, like single subjects. They're not exist like outside in the real world. You're not gonna find only biology, only chemistry. Subjects are, interconnected outside in the real world. So sometimes you're thinking like, okay, I'm going to introduce biology, and your child has to learn everything about biology. It will be more like let them one idea will produce another idea, and if they're learning about one topic, in that one topic they can learn many different subjects. If they are learning about Egypt history, they are learning about history, they might learn Islamic studies, as mentioning the Musa alayhi salam. At the same time, they can explore pyramids and 3D shapes and the volume of the pyramid, the surface area of the pyramid. So this homeschooling style is called like a unit study. So you don't have to kind of particularly break it down into a single subject, because this is not how the real world works. All the subjects are interconnected. So, let them explore. They will start with Egypt. Maybe they will end up on surface area and, discovering they love geometry and, mathematics. So I would say just let them just, follow what they're interested. Whatever they're learning, it's going to be beneficial. They're not going to waste time. So yeah, I would just add that sometimes we got caught up in like, uh, you know, uh, that has to be one specific subject. Doesn't have to be one specific subject. They can learn about in one topic. They can learn about many different subjects.
Yeah, exactly. That's what unschooling is. I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of like creating a polymath in the household. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's so beautiful. That's what we are. We are creating a bunch of polymaths who are going to be equipped, inshallah, inshallah. That's our goal, to just have our children be prepared for the dunya in every aspect of life. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy on us to do so, and help all the moms who are struggling right now with homeschooling slash parenting, and make it easy on them. This is one thing I would definitely encourage moms. Don't hesitate to reach out to experts. don't hesitate to reach out to moms who have already done it, who have already been in your shoe and ask for advice. And if you do, that's only your fault because there are many sisters out there who are willing to share their experience and help each other out. So, I don't want to drag this longer. I think we already went past time, but I hope this was beneficial. If you liked it, please make sure you comment below and let us know what other topics you would like us to cover in the near future. But that's it for now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.